Hey everyone, you're live. Yes, I'm working it by myself. Trying to get it set up. I'm gonna drop the link in. There's the link, guys. Anybody want to come in? Go right ahead. I got bored tonight. So, what do we want to talk about? Anything special? I'm sure about bees and stuff. It's raining here tonight. So, hey, Grayson, Lee, hey, Robert. Robert's going to do some framework tomorrow. I've been painting boxes here lately myself, trying to get things ready for the winter or the spring. Waiting for somebody to come on in. Come on in, Robert. You want to talk? Lee, you can come on in too if you can. I'm not sure whether you're able right now, as far as your health situation. Ah, your tooth is killing you, huh? Okay, I figured that. Yeah, I watched Bob Benning this morning a little bit. It was, I don't know, I found it okay. Nothing great. I actually did. I kind of skipped through it a little bit and all. I like more of the videos that have more of technique about them, stuff like that, especially that in the summertime when he's working the bees. Hey, Steve, what's happening? How's things up in New York State? Well, you picked up five frame excluders, queen excluders. Did you get them from Rossman? That's the only place that I know that has five frame, you know, queen excluders. Place in Florida. Okay. We have to Find out where that's at. I got enough of them right now. I bought a dozen out of Rossman apiaries. Of course, they're wooden bound. Steve, you want to come on, come on in and just click the notification bar up top there, the link, all metal. I think I'd rather have that than the ones with a wooden bound on it. You don't have as much burr comb problems with those. Probably a little cheaper too. Hey, James. Glad to see you from Michigan. And you're laying in bed, huh? Resting up. James, if you want to come on, just click the link on the top of the screen. I've got it pinned. What's happening up in Michigan? I think it's Michigan, MI. I'm not sure what the actual state designation. $7 each. That is a good price, a real good price. Wish I'd have known that place before I bought the others. You got a lot of snow up there, James? Yeah, it's 37 degrees here and it's raining pretty much all afternoon. Nothing really hard, just drizzle. Enough to make it miserable. Hey, how you doing? Mitchell, welcome aboard. Hope if you want to come on, just click the link on the top of the screen there where I've pinned it. Oh, you got a dusting up there, James? Snow? Yeah, we haven't really got any snow here in Maryland at all, where I'm at, for the whole year so far. They've been talking about that. Doesn't hurt my feelings any. So how's everybody's bees? I know they're all tucked in, but I didn't know whether maybe you had a a day or so there that you could actually go out there and check them and see. Sting that like button. Yeah, Lee. That's a good. Thank you for that. Lee, he's won't be with me tonight. He's under the weather. He's had a couple medical issues that he needs to take care of. So anybody else wants to jump on, go right ahead. Lee says 60 degrees and the bees are flying down there in the deep south in Louisiana. I know here it's been pretty much 38 degrees, close to 40, and rain. And it's been like that yesterday, Saturday. It was cold and kind of damp air to it. And wasn't any good to do any treatments or even get in any bees. It's been that way for the last week for the most part. Hey, Steve, if you get a chance, either email me or whatever where you got them queen excluders for a 5 frame nukes. We appreciate it, especially with there being wood. I don't like particularly care for the plastic. And all. All right, so Steve needs to check 20 more highs when the weather gets redder. I'm sure it's cold up there. And Mike, you're up. You're up there in 26 degrees in Vermont. Goodness gracious. Now I'm sure the darn snow is 3 foot deep, probably. Well, you got 5 inches. That's surprising, especially where you live in Vermont. So, what do you got to get ready for the farmer's market there, James? Just bottle up honey, or you got other things that you like to sell? So, so far, my bees have done pretty good as far as I know. The last time that we had a flight weather, all the highs were, hey, Amar, Columbia, South Carolina, 45 degrees and rain. Well, it's raining here too. And it's about, it's 37 degrees here. And it was about at the very high, maybe 40 degrees today during the daytime. All right, Southwest or South Florida bee supply. I'll have to write that down. That's good to know. Gives me another option. Gives everybody else a. They got 5 different you have 5 different products, James. All right. And then if anybody looking for 5 frame queen excluders and probably some other bee supplies, I've not heard of South Florida bee supply. Steve there got queen excluders for what was it, Steve? Um, $7 a piece. I know that uh, where I got them from, I believe they were like $13.50 a piece. Of course, I got them at the Hive Life, so it saved on shipping, saved on taxes. So I did pretty good there as far as that goes, as far as equipment and things. $8 for $56. So, hey DC, what's happening? Seeing you got in here. DC, if you want to come on, like just click the link up top. You know how that goes. Hard sitting here reading the chats. So anyway, like I say, Brandon, go ahead and click the link if you like. And this is my first actual solo live chat. Lee has taught me well so far. $7 for those frames. That is really good price. How are you tonight, Charlie? I'm doing good, Brandon. Let's see. Yep. I'm going good. I was just bored tonight. Nobody's talking bees, and Greg was talking chickens, and I'm not a chicken person. So I figured, well, I'd try a no life beekeeper chat on my own and see how many people showed up, and figured out maybe some other folks want to talk bees tonight. So if anybody wants to come on with me and talk bees, that'll be great. Oh, I eat chicken. I just don't like to raise them. And I like eggs too. But I got enough work just keeping bees instead of chickens. On the new yard area, getting it cleaned up. All right. Well, that's good, DC. Brandon. So that's why I'm here on tonight, just kind of give somebody a place to come, talk bees and all. Like I say, I haven't really been able to get into my hives because of the weather. It's either been too cold or rainy and wet, or I'm just tired and everything else. Hey there, Mark Miller. Now, I know you can get on here and talk, and we can talk about queen rearing. So hit that link and come on here. Let's see. Good. The birds and the bees, huh? Yeah. And Brandon's going to get new benches for Monday. So is that going to be for a display bleacher style thing for you, DC? So yours are flying today, DC. Well, that's good. A little warmer, hopefully, than what it is here. That's for sure. Well, that's always good, DC, that you still got bees. I know that I think it was Brad at Kodiak Farms. He had lost, I think, 10 hives, it was. He had some issues there down in Louisiana. Been working on Brad dimensions on Brad's 6 frame by 3 under honey supers. I about got it figured out. Hope I talked to James McNally, and he said that Brad has that posted on some, I think it's called SketchUp, where you can actually download that. I think you have to have the SketchUp program in order to get it, though. So Steve bought the feeders that Fred Dunn had on YouTube last week. I'm not sure exactly what they were. Okay, DC's setting up some hive racks, basically, as I call them. And James is having internet connection problems. Yeah, Brad, and up there in Canada, they were advising me that their lumber is 7/8 thick. Now I'm wondering whether that is because it's based on metric measurements, and it happens to come out to English at 7/8. Oh, he's building push-in cages tomorrow. Steve is. That's cool. I guess you're going to make them out of 1/8 hardware cloth. Hey, Grammy. What's happening? I was bored, Grammy. I figured I'd do a no life beekeeper chat for Sunday night for a couple hours, maybe, if it lasts that long, depending on how many people want to stay on. Yeah, all right. Steve's going to make them out of 1/8 hardware cloth. That's cool. Okay, that's for 6 frame. Okay, that's the size of the actual 6 frame nuke box. That's what I'm understanding there, right? Yeah, I was over there at Greg's and Susie's, and like I said a little earlier, I'm not really into chickens. So that's why I said, well, maybe I'll pop up and do a no life beekeeper chat tonight. So see what happens, see who's out there who wants to get on. Hey, Mister, make it worse and make it better. Yeah, come on in. Um, Birds and the bees go together. Oh, I think so. Yeah, that's true. I just don't get into chickens too much, except for eating the bird itself or eggs. Oh, really, Steve? They don't ship. I guess that's from Canada. What we're talking about. All right, it's 11 inches by 20 inches. Steve, are you trying to get like boxes shipped in from Canada, or is that what we're talking about? Okay, so they don't ship over the seas. That's odd because um yay, somebody here. um that's odd because they do ship lumber into the United States and all that, but I think there's a some kind of a quarantine on that right now as far as them, politically and whatever. Can you hear me, Mark? Can you hear me? All right, he's getting set up.
You hear me now?
Yo, I can hear you now. You're loud and clear.
Can't hear you.
You can't?
Hold on, let me go back out.
All right. He'll be back, hopefully. Hey, not a Bob special. No, it's not a Bob special. It's a Charlie special. Charlie's trying out the No Life Beekeeper chat. See how that works. I know Friday night we had a great chat with Brad and James from up there in Canada, and Brad put out a lot of photographs about his. How about now?
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
All right.
and you can hear me.
Yeah, I hear
Okay,
you
cool.
just fine.
So what you doing, Mark?
I've been sitting in the easy chair, took a nap for about 3 hours, got up listening to chickens, and I seen yous on here, so
Yeah,
that's where I'm
yeah.
at.
I don't know where Bob's at, Steve. Hopefully, maybe he'll pop in. Um, yeah. It's about. I was kind of that way too yesterday. Friday night got real long as far as my regular scheduled chat and all that. But it was a real good one. I'll tell you, I was real pleased with that. I had a lot of interesting information there. Uh, building pallets and how he sets up those three-way nukes, like Ian Stepper. Actually, Ian actually copied the pallet dimensions and all that from him, from what I understand, the way I got it.
Yeah,
And
that's an excellent setup, especially, for honey production. Uh, if I was going to do strictly honey production, that's be the only way to set it up, really,
mhm.
my opinion.
Yeah, and especially, and he's also, transporting them hives and it all interlocks. He got to showing us how they interlocked and everything.
Yeah,
And that kind of stuff, which was really cool. And then I had watched his YouTube channel, I'll say a year or more ago, and he had those it was two 10 framers with a queen excluder, and then he had a single tower up the middle with honey boxes.
yeah.
And
The
there's
problem with that is it gets so high you can't pick them up.
yeah, um I have a hive that a guy in Pennsylvania built, and he named it after his last name was, or I think his first name was Nat. He called it the Nat Hive because that's the guy who had the carpenter skills to build it. And yeah, Lisa, the setups are really cool. And you'll have to watch the recorded session there to get all that. But anyway, I bought two of those, and what he did was, and I still have them. It's a two queen hive. It's the bottom box is designed to hold. I think it was 8 frames on each side, and 6 or 8 frames, and then the center was joined together. There was a wall between the two hives, queen excluder, and then of course the box is going straight up. Now the way he had it designed, there was a roof, sort of an angled side roof, and there was like two little fingers going back underneath where the hives on top were setting. So when you pull the roof off gently, you could actually bring all the frames out towards the front so you could lift them up out of there.
Mm.
And it was and he was trying to, I guess you might say, a demery type of method where he were bringing, maybe I just didn't understand it at that time about bringing um, the brood frames out and then up and then put them in the brood box up on top. But the problem I had with it is it would go queenless. And I don't know whether because the pheromones mix so much or whatever. And that was one thing that Brad said, that the pheromone, if one side went queenless, they didn't requeen themselves because of the pheromones going
Right.
back and forth. So here lately, the same guy, he's built a hive that same principle, but it looks like an L, and he's got it to where you have the stack on the back, and then you have a box going out towards you on the bottom, so he can pull the lid off the top, and he can still reach underneath there and grab them frames and slide them towards you and pull them out to inspect them and everything. So that's um, you know interesting. I have not looked at that. He's it's another style of hive, but I think for me,
You
um,
handling that weight because you're gonna be stacking boxes up fast.
well, it's like the hives behind me. Um, I'm gonna, uh, with talking with the folks on the chat here and some of the other folks that live near me who do the, hey, there's Bob. And okay, Daisy, Steve. If you want to come on, Bob, come on out. Here he is. Steve. There we
Hey
go.
guys,
You want to come on, Bob? Come on out. Here he is.
you doing all right?
Steve. There we
Hey
go.
guys,
You want to come
oh, hold on. That's
Who's
me.
is that you? Okay.
Yeah, and then it switched me over to my doggone headphones. Just that quick.
Okay, cool.
But
I'll do that, Steve. So anyway, what was I lost my train of thought. Oh, with talking with everybody here and talking with my friends, so some of the ladies that were doing the Demery method, they were also taking off if they found honey supers that were, going through the boxes and, hey, I got enough here for a load in my extractor because they're capped, let's say 90%. They're pulling that off, and they're extracting throughout the month of, let's say, June or something like that, prior to waiting to get everything done at one time. And that's what I'm going to do this year. I did something similar to that where I used to just take, if I had 30 boxes of honey, I did it all one time, brought it into the house, and then, extract every night. And you're trying to race through it before the hive beetles or the wax worms start messing with you.
Right.
So one guy said, take off enough. Actually, he was my vice president, said, he does 50 hives or so. And he says, take enough boxes off that you can get done within 3 days. So I did about 6 boxes, and that made the workload a lot nicer. And so this year I'm thinking to myself, well, the darn boxes, you try to put a 50, 60 pound box over top of your head back up on top because it hasn't been capped. And I'm like, now I'm going to, instead of me needing that hive loader, maybe I can, by working it better and taking off the honey and then spinning it and then taking them frames back, put them right back on the hives. They'll have a tendency, I understand, that they'll refill them frames faster because they smell like honey and they got a little bit of, a liquid in there. Residue.
That's what I did last year. We basically chased the flow and stayed busy all year extracting honey.
I extracted honey Friday.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you do it throughout, I'll say, like, I have April, May, and June is my honey season. So I'll say probably by May or mid-May, I might be starting to be able to extract, at least a few boxes.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what you call chasing the flow, right?
Right. Pretty much. Well,
okay.
It ain't really chasing the flow. Is carrying your bees to where the flow is, but
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
I'm not gonna do that. No.
I'm not set up for that.
I don't
have. Go ahead.
I bought 2 of those licensed 6-frame nukes. I ordered them, so we'll see the poly ones.
Oh, did you?
Bob, you was there at the Hive Life. Was that a licensed 6-frame incubator? Did you happen to price that?
No, I didn't. You talking about the 6-frame, like,
Where you got your little sail traveler thing.
oh,
Right,
no, the incubator, that's at Apis Engineering. They got a
right,
website,
right.
but I
Okay.
didn't price it.
Hey,
Yeah.
Brian.
But
That
yeah.
nuke would be really nice. That little incubator.
Well, I got the licensed 6-frame nuke. I got 2 of them. And then I was talking to James McNally today, and because I was thinking about doing what they did down there that we, in the last live stream. But then he's like, "Oh, you need 3 of those." I was like, "Damn, I do need 3 of them," because it was a 1 deep over 3 nukes, right? So I was thinking about trying to do that, but I squashed my own dream, so I have to order another one.
Now you're going to use a license instead of a wooden box. What you're saying?
Yeah. So have you looked for wooden 6-frame boxes anywhere?
You
Well,
can buy them
Steve,
out of Canada is the only place
yeah,
I
well,
know of.
Steve from Daisy Honey just talked about that here a couple minutes ago, and you can't buy them boxes out of Canada now. Can you do that through Dancing Bee?
I can buy them. And did you call that Canadian site? Who was it they were saying? Something Smith and James or something like that.
Yeah, that was another box building company or something.
They're in Canada. But see, the Canadian boxes come 7/8 thick wood instead of the 3/4.
I'm wondering. I was going to ask James, is that because it's metric?
Maybe, I don't know. It comes so the dimensions are a little bit off. But I mean, a 3/4 box will fit on it, but you're going to have an overhang probably on each side. And the reason I went with those licensed nukes is because they don't have that crazy poly lip on them, right? Where they're flat like a Langstroth box. So that's why I went with those.
I've got one, and I can't remember if it does or not.
So I figured that I would get those and give them a go. And then we were talking about, buying packages. And I've never bought a package, right? But after talking with you about how you guys go get packages, and I got people that now are wanting to buy nukes from me. Not many, but last year all my nuke sales were like spur of the moment. I want a nuke. This year I've got people starting to call me to ask me would I sell them a nuke. So it's
Right.
changing a little bit. So
Brian says they don't have a lip at all. I got one, and I used it and I liked it, and it done a great job in the wintertime for sure.
So
Bob, have you got any overwinter nukes that you can sell?
Me?
I don't have many overwinter nukes. I've got 2 overwintered nukes right now that are kind of hanging on there, right? They're not very big right now. But they only have to make it a few more weeks, and temperatures should start improving, and they're going to start drawing out. But he just blew my mind, because I was like, well, I could just buy a package, put it in a nuke box for, let's say, $100 if I go down to Georgia, right? Buy 10 of them or whatever, get the price break. So buy them for $100. He says, well, I'll give you one better. You could take that package for $100, put it in a deep box, let the queen get the laying, leave them in there for 6 weeks, and then split that 10-frame box into 2 nukes. And that way your $100 now became $400 doing it that way. You might have to add it. Well, you will have to add a queen, but if then you're in $125 for $400. And
James is telling you about this?
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I said, but if that's the case, then I could make my own nuke, or my own, I could just get a queen, make my own package by shaking bees out of my other colonies. And
for just the price of frames.
Right.
That's all you got in it, really, frames.
So, and, so now my mind is going down this rabbit hole again, trying to do the beakonomics. And it's like, just constantly, the more that I think about it, and different ways that you can be profitable in beekeeping.
So he's saying take a 3-pound package with a queen, throw it in a box.
Yep. Give them a couple drawn combs already in the middle so the queen can start laying right away.
Right.
Leave them alone for 6 weeks. Put some feed on them so they'll draw out that comb, right? Your foundation. So like maybe 4 frames of drawn comb and 6 frames of foundation, right? Slap the feed on them, let them go. And in 6 weeks, you should have 4 frames of brood and 6 frames of food, or, somewhere in that, because it's going to be right in the springtime.
Well, let me ask you this. Why don't you, if you do the same concept, but 5-frame nuke, and then if you got, like you say, you got some comb.
Yeah, I've got extra comb.
If you got a ton of comb, or not a ton, but some.
Rotate out your old comb would be better.
Why don't you put 5 frames of comb in there on 3-pound package with a queen, and then let her get going, and then throw another 5-frame box on top of that, and then
pull 1 frame up, drop 1 frame in the bottom to get the bees.
You could do that. I mean, I'm not saying you have to get them to draw. I mean, you might want to try to get them to draw wax out for you to be, to generate. But what I'm getting at is they're going to grow.
Right.
And now you got 2 boxes full of bees. All you got to do is set 1 box off over here on another stand. Now you got 2 nukes.
Or you could actually, depending on how she's brooding up, you could actually split that 4 ways into 4 nuke boxes.
At least, let's say if you got 10 frames there, let's say 6 frames of brood, and you could take that 1 package and split it 3 ways if you have that much brood in there. And if you got a frame there, let's say if you got 6 frames and you leave 2 frames in the original hive, 2 frames in the top box, set that off on a base, on a bottom board. Mm-hmm. And let's say there's some eggs in there. They're going to make a queen on you.
Daisy says split the package immediately and add another queen. So get a package and 2 queens, or get a package with an extra queen, split them. Well, you could do that too. You could split them into 2 nuke boxes that way right away, right? See, damn chicken math and bees. So it just it's pretty cool. I mean, and I'm sure I've thought of that before, but thinking about it, and actually, which builds faster, 5/5 or a 10 frame? I think 5/5.
5/5. That I keep telling people that here locally in my club, that a nuke box isn't just a small box. It is a tool.
Yeah.
And bees love to go up. They like a narrow space, and they basically, I call a nuke box a rectangular tree that you can tear apart and put it back together.
Well, those 6 framers, I did get the extra super for on top, right? So it could be 6/6.
And using a double screen divider will help nukes build up too. Now, right there's I got one of them when I was at High Life last year. All right, here comes the master here. He's going to tell you how to do it. But you can put a double screen in there, Bob, where they can't touch each other. Put that new queen upstairs. Now you're sharing heat until they get moving, and then you can set them off on a new base.
Well, see, last year that was my thing. That my nukes and all just started going slow. They were slow, and I don't know if it was the queen or I didn't have enough bees with them, but they were just slow getting going.
Well, it's like
all right. There's 5/5, right?
Yeah.
You started out with 3 3s. Then you went to 5 5s. They're going to build up fast. So the way this is made, you can put a queen excluder right over it. The queen can't get through here.
Right.
Okay. Then you can put another 5/5, or just to put a 10 frame, whatever you want, honey. whatever you want on top of that, you got 2 nukes. Come winter, if you want to overwinter them, each one of them are vented.
Right. Just drop that right on top of another.
Right on top of another one.
What is that, Mark? Is that a bottom board you got there?
That's just a 3/4 inch plywood, and that's 3/8 right there all the way around. That gives the hive below it room enough to put a patio on if you want to.
All right, so that's what I was talking about the last time, Bob. Is that set up right there where you're going to have 2 nukes over top of a strong 10 frame hive, and now you got the heat,
right?
Especially in the early times, like you're trying to do in the early, because you can get ahead of us.
If you're going to drop cells, you can put it on top of a 10 frame and mate them right on top of another hive if you wanted to. Or you can overwinter them like that if you want to. Either way.
Right. Yeah,
you got 3 chances of queens. You don't have to move them into another box. You can pull. If you make 3 queens, you can pull 1 out and make 2 nukes. Do something else, sell the other queen or whatever you're going to do.
The thing of it is, with that box there, if you got that box over top of a 10 frame, and now she's just flat out jam packed full of bees and brood on both sides, you can split that down. You know, if the weather's right, you can split it down to individual hives.
Right. You can sell a nuke and then pull this and let it be a 10 frame.
And all right, Mark, you got the coroplast there, which is about what, 3/16?
It's 2 blades thickness is what it is on the table saw.
So is that, how thick is your blade? My blades are thicker sometimes.
That's the dado blades that come with Sears, the Sears dado blade set.
Is that about a 1/4 inch then?
1/8, I think, is what they are.
1/8 of an inch. Okay, yeah. Normally it's around 8. I know my table saw is a little more on the industrial side, which is 3/16. It takes out a lot more.
First thing you do is putty your handles. I don't know if you can see that. Putty them handles before you assemble it. You putty your handles, and then you cut your holes here. That way you don't have a hole on the outside.
Your slots.
Because it's going to cut through, right?
Yeah, I got one that's got to cut through.
Okay. Yeah. So you want to putty them first.
Put some plastic wood in there is what you're telling me?
Yeah, that old putty, wood putty. Yeah.
It's wood putty.
Wood putty. That's all I use. Just regular old wood putty. And I put my whole center of the box down here on the bottom in the center.
Right.
Seems to do better. I've got some on the bottom that I don't like. What I use too is the screen. Lay that over the top of them, and you can just fold it over, check for a queen, fold it over, check for a queen. That allows you to smoke them through the screen.
Right. So they get out and don't come over.
They don't come over on you, right? Because you can use anything you want, but I found this to be really handy. When they propolis this up, you just shake that propolis right off of it. No problem.
So, Mark, you're using the screen so they can't cross over the divider, right?
Right. If you got 3 in there. See, like this is full of propolis. See what I'm talking about? Just look at it. Just comes right off. No problem.
Right.
It just cleans right off there.
That's just old door screen, right? That's just old door screen?
Window screen, fiberglass window screens, all it is.
It's not the metal, it's the plastic looking stuff.
See, here's some old ones that was messed up.
I got one like that. I got one like that. Yeah.
Little bitty handle, I don't like that. The hole at the bottom, that's going to rot. I don't want that.
It's going to break too.
It's going to break. So what I'm going to end up doing is filling that in, glue that, then put one in the center, then put my dowel on.
And look, that little hole right there probably gives you enough to stick your OA in there, right in the side.
Oh yeah, if you want to. Yeah.
So that's going to be the.
It gives you so many options for one little box, and you ain't got all them other boxes you got to buy. You can put a honey super on it if you want to. You get behind.
And just give me some room to draw the comb out.
Yeah, because you got a queen on each side. You got 2 nukes. It's fixing to build fast.
Well, that definitely. My problem is I'm getting that analysis paralysis. Right? There's so many options you can do.
Yeah.
Figuring out what works best for your yard and your timing. And I'm always late. Like, I'm late right now. I'm late figuring out what I'm going to do and having the stuff I need.
We'll get used to that because that's always going to be that way. You don't ever get everything you need. Just when it starts, it starts. You got what you got, and that's it.
Let me see. What Flower Street say? I've got one like that in the slot through the recessed handle. That is a pretty flexible system. Yep. So I've got some boxes cut like that. I just don't have that chloroplast cut and the bottom board, I don't have it blocked up right for the disc on the side.
The only thing I wished I'd have done different was at the bottom of it. Show you again. See, this is 3/4 board. I wished I'd have put about an inch difference right here.
Just turn the camera. There you go.
I wished I'd have put about an inch difference. Come on up to about right here. Or dropped it down about an inch. That way, if I've got a bunch of swarm cells, I can drop them in these boxes without tearing the swarm cells up. See, this board is flush with this board, so I don't have room to put swarm cells in.
All right, so you're saying put a rim around the edge.
Yeah, give yourself another inch. But then you've got to cut them rings out, too, to match your slide when you slide it in. I just use regular 5-frame nukes for like swarm cells. If it's swarm cells I want to keep, I just put them in a 5-frame nuke. And these here are all pretty much for grafted cells.
Basically just do a walk-away split with your swarm cells?
I just put them in 5-frame nukes. 2 or 3 frames with a cell in there.
And I do. Let them roll.
If it's something I want to keep. If it ain't, I'll do away with them.
Right.
Sometimes I'll keep the royal jelly.
I got it's getting down to 20-something degrees tonight here.
It's pretty cold.
And
I got my heater rolling, man. Yeah. It was good.
Your little ceramic heater.
Yeah.
I got I just brewed that, my daughter in Germany mailed me a mead making kit. So I just started my first gallon of mead. Let's see how it rolls, how it goes. So try that out.
That'll be interesting. I've never done it.
I'll probably blow up the damn jug or something in the kitchen to get the wife mad.
I'm going to sit down. I hate to be moving around all the time, but I can't stand up forever.
Looks like you got a ton of honey back there.
I need to sell some honey.
There you go. Bob, get him.
In the next few weeks, I'll probably have honey when I start going through my colonies and giving them room to lay.
Oh, me.
Am I the only one that does that? I mean,
what's
like
that?
In the spring, if they've got honey in the brood box, and once the flow started, I pull those frames of cap honey out on the side of the brood box and give them more frames to lay in. and hopefully she'll go to them. You know, they're going to have to clean them up, but once they clean them up, she should get to work down there.
Right.
I don't, because what I do is I feed in the fall sugarwater. So I know the honey that's in there is sugarwater. So if there's a little bit left, I will line the outer walls with honey frames or capped sugar, whatever you want to call it. And then the rest of it, I put it in a box and put it in the freezer and freeze it. And then July and August, normally, now not this past year, I'll feed it back to them because we have a dearth. But this year we had this thing called a spotted lanternfly, which was a moth that makes honeydew or poop. The bees take it and turn it into honey. And I had a super honey in there. So I said, okay, well, that's your honey for, getting through the dearth and in the winter too.
I'm talking about the honey that's in the brood box itself when you get down there, right? So that gets capped up usually early before they start moving up. But I never pull that out in the fall, right? I leave that in the brood box. But when I go through in the spring and everybody's reduced down, I start pulling those frames out to give the queen extra room to lay. That's what I've done. I mean, it's, I guess, worked okay. As long as you don't do it too early. If you do it too early, then you end up with what I did last year. But I've got I've got frames of feed in my freezer as well. So when I come out for to make nukes and make my splits, then I drop one of my frames out of the freezer into the nuke, right? And let them use that and get it out of my freezer. And, it works okay.
Yeah, as far as the honey goes, I mean, I pull it all off. I don't have the flow like you guys do as far as that extended flow in the fall or anything. Come 1st of July, I'm done for the year. I only have 3 months.
Well, this honey that I spun out on Friday was really dark compared to my honey that I get in the spring. That's really light.
That's that fall honey.
That's not sugar feed honey, because it would be very light, very, very light. This was real darker stuff than what I usually get. So, and I look at it this way: if the frame's capped before the flow, and I put out open feed, they're not going to uncap that to add sugar feed to it and recap it. So it's very easy to tell, at least for me, when I look at it, the difference. But that's just what I've been doing. So not a lot, just trying to wrap my mind around the next. We're coming up on February, and then March here, queens start becoming available. They're going to start going crazy. I started looking at Rossman's. I even looked at that, the other place that you go down to.
Hardeman's.
Hardeman's doesn't have a website. They got a Facebook page, but no website.
You just have to call them. You got to call them now in order to order whatever you need.
And I start seeing people in my area saying they're, pre-order your packages now, and they're selling them for $130. And, they're going down there probably the same place and picking them up and bringing them up.
Well, there's about 3 different places down. You have Rossman, you have Hardeman's, and Spelby.
I don't know how much Don the Fat Bee Man charges for his packages.
I don't know. They're in Georgia.
But they're probably 4 hours from me. I don't know how far that place is. Hardeman's, how far they are from me. But everybody's far from me. Savannah's.
We came up there on that road. I'm going to say it's 301 or something like that. It comes up to the lake. You come back out to 95 to the that man-made lake.
Lake Mert. Well, all right. Yeah, I know about where they're at because you said they were down close to Savannah, down that way.
Well, you go to Savannah and then you make a right-hand turn.
At this rate,
they're out about 80 miles. They're halfway between Savannah and Macon.
I could call Lee and say, Lee, because I know their bees down there, Louisiana, are cheap bees, inexpensive bees. But I don't know all the rules about moving them across state lines and all that stuff. Yeah, if I'd get stopped.
Well, you have to have what do you call them? Papers or whatever, inspection papers.
Well, Rossman says they will. They're mailing them this year. But if you trust your postal service,
you have a bunch of dead bees.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. It just.
So the options are go buy packages, do that, make packages with my own bees and just add queens to them. That's the least expensive way to do it.
Well, what about Cutics? I mean, can you buy packages from them or just nukes?
Just nukes, and their nukes are not cheap. They're not cheap at all. They sell them retail, same as we do. So obviously the big guys like Man Lake and those are buying 1,000 of them, right? So or more, so they're getting them quite cheap. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, if you buy 250, 300, then you'll start getting a deal.
Yeah, but
you're not, you got.
I'm not equipped for that.
Equipped for all that. But
yeah, so that's the thing. Do I repeat what I did last year one more time? I'm opposed to buying bees for my own yard because I've got bees. I can make bees, right? But if I got customers, I'm not opposed to taking $100 and making $200 out of it, or more.
The other place is Gardner's Apiary or Spell Bee Company, LLC. They're in Baxley, Baxley, Georgia.
Yeah, that's up northern Georgia by like Bob Benny and those. Bob Benny sells them too, but let me see. What's his company name?
Hardeman, or he's talking about Gardner's?
No, Bob Benny's.
Oh, Blue Ridge Honey Company.
Yeah, I always forget that. I don't know why I do. Blue Ridge Honey Company. Hey, go figure. They're in my history. Bees for sale. His queen bees are really about the same price as Cutics. The only difference is Cutics is an hour away from me, where Bob Benny's 4 hours away from me. But Bob Benny's queens may be superior. Probably are superior. At least that's the 2022 price. He doesn't have he sells package bees too, but he doesn't have a package price on here.
I thought he got out of that.
Well, maybe he did. I mean, he didn't. It doesn't have an updated price list for 2023 on their website.
You need to call them now, because now is the time when they start. Like my guy that I drive with, he's already got prices set and stuff. So I'm sure he's got a certain amount of bees already ordered.
And packages and nukes from them are by pickup only. So.
Well, if it takes me 12 hours to get down to Hardeman's, it shouldn't take you no more than between 4 and 6.
And Hardeman's is, what's the name of the town?
Mount Vernon, Georgia.
We just get the old Googler out. Let's see. Click the map here. Directions from my home to Mount Vernon, Georgia. 3.5 hours. That's not bad.
Mount Vernon. Charlie, is that where you went down there and filmed them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And nothing special, I can tell you that right now.
It was nice. I enjoyed that.
Well, I mean, where we went out and we were catching queens, that was down the road, several miles. They probably got 30 different yards because they got shaking yards where they shake, and then they have queen yards where they pull queens and stuff like that. And then they bring the queens back, and the next day the shakers take the queens and the queen cages, and then they put them into packages and stuff like that. But if you're looking to get packages, Bob, you're going to have to talk to them now. Call Mickey up or one of the gals down there and see whether or not you can get in.
Yeah, but then again, I'm not looking to buy 100 of them either. So I would take the back of the bus, right? That's where I'd be sitting.
It depends how things are going. That's the best way I can explain it.
Unless people want to come pick packages up, we'll do a pre-order and get a large order together and go get them.
Well, that's like I've been telling you, you're going to have to start easing into that their supply house situation.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the map, even on when you go to Rossman's, right? They've got apiaries that get their product that they have stars on, and people can come pick them up from those locations. But there's none here in South Carolina to do it. And
I see the chat moving over here off to the left, but it's not moving over here off to the right. Why is that?
I don't know. I don't see it moving over. Last thing I saw was Laramore's comment.
So well, I got Sourwood says, check out my 3-frame nukes instead of packages.
3-frame nukes. I mean, are you putting 2 frames of brood in one food in there? I mean, that's the.
And then hopes that
I put 1 frame of brood and bees in a shake of bees, and a frame of food in an empty foundation. Is what I do. Gives them something to build in during the flow.
Yeah, for some reason the comment section over here has
ceased to exist.
Scrolling. It's not scrolling.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I need to. Maybe I talk to Mark Andrews there, Sourwood, and he's going down to Florida. He hadn't told me when he's going down to Florida to get them. Maybe I'll just get some of his stuff up there. He's doing 3-frame nukes for about the price of a package, I think, is how he was explaining it. So it does have some comb involved in it. But as long as they have enough bees, and a queen, they should, do pretty good. They should move it pretty quick. And
well, I mean, if you got somebody like Mark there with with Sourwood, strike a deal up with that. Somebody that's local.
Well, see, my thing is, again, nobody here sells packages. Well, not really in Columbia. There is a guy selling packages a little bit away from us, and he's charging $130. I just saw it on Facebook, and he's talking about having them at the end of May or end of March. So right before April. So that means those packages would have had to been made. Yep, Cutic, Kutic. They only sell nukes and queens, but I usually go and buy them. At least that's been what I've done in the past, and I'll put them in the nuke and let them start laying up. And if somebody wants a queen, then I just go out and catch the queen and sell them to queen with some attendants, and then let them make a queen. behind it. So when those frames of brood hatch, it's a load of bees. Yeah, that's the yeah, I don't know why it's not updating over here on StreamYard. Just over.
I don't know. I got a scroll bar and a bottom arrow, and I keep clicking on it. It doesn't work.
Nothing's changing over there, but you can see it over on YouTube.
I can't see the chat on my phone. It's got a chat right there. If I push that, last time I tried that, I disappeared.
Yeah, there'll be 5 frame in a couple weeks. Yeah, that's a smart way to do it. I mean, you can, if you got the queens to make 3 frame nukes, by the time you get them home and people are coming to get them, they're 5 framers, ready to go. So last year, Cutix price, let me see, I've got them on my phone.
Just keep in mind too, Bob, you're building a business and quality is going to stand your name over time.
Right.
There, that's important.
Well, yeah, I prefer to use my own bees, and build it up. I can definitely, like I said, I only got four sold right now, so it's not like I've got a bunch of them sold, but I know that there's the people that, I didn't get in. So 2022 price on nukes were 1 through 10 was $185. 11 through 30 was $167, and 31 through 50 is $162. So what I typically do on anything is I get to that first price break, and so my goal would be to buy 11, right? So all the other 10 get the discount with it. The queens that they were selling in 2022, if you bought 1 through 9, they were $33. 10 through 24 for $30, but once you got to 25, they dropped to $28 a piece. And 100 plus, they only go down 27 to $27. And again, that was last year's price. Sells $5. Let me see. And I'm send him a text while I got him on here. And they charge you $20. So it's $185, but they'll charge you $20 deposit on their wooden boxes. Or they charge you, this was last year, or they charge you $20 and you get a pro nuke.
Well, now it's going to be all pro nukes.
So they're not going to do the wooden boxes Cuticated this year?
That's what I had heard. Now, whether that's come about or not, I don't know.
I just texted him any 2023 pricing yet to see if he comes back on it. But, again, it's not a poor man's game, right? When you're starting out trying to do it like this, because if you get 10, you take $2,000 in your pocket with you when you go, right? You're not, it's not cheap that way. The best way to do it is to make the bees, right? Make your own stuff, and do it that way for sure. Now,
the only way you do it, as far as the way my friend does it, is that he gets money up front. You pay for your bees, the nukes or the packages, everything is prepaid for. All you're really doing is paying him for shipment and that kind of a thing.
And then he can determine, well, this is how much I got paid. This was the price break, so I made X number of dollars per. Now he can either get those in extra packages for himself or use it as profit. So that's kind of the sticking point on that, I guess. And one guy said, well, I'd get queens out of out of Georgia for $18 a piece, but you got to buy 250 of them to get that price break. I'm like, what? He said, so if you want to go in with me, I said, well, yeah, I could go in on with you, but I don't need 150 queens or 125 queens myself right now. Not, if I can go down and get 25, 26, 30 of them at a time, that's different, because then I'm rolling my money. I'm not taking a big lump sum and dropping it there to do it, just trying to process all that. And, when people start paying these invoices for this lure that they bought for their stores, then maybe it's a different situation. But right now, I can only think about what I've got right now to work with. I can't be.
Brian, he says he does 75% deposit and then the balance on pickup. But problem I had I didn't have it, but my friend had is that they actually paid for the bees, whether it be a package or a nuke, and then they never showed up.
That's how I got mine last year, cheap. And then you end up with all these extra bees that you probably didn't need yourself, or maybe you do. Maybe they're just maybe you're just looking to expand like that. I don't know. I've never bought a package, not at all. I've always just bought nukes. And that I figured, well, first of all, I'm getting extra comb that I, always need frames and comb, right? So got that. And, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work. So, Mark, are you trying to expand this year? Are you trying to stay where you're at right now, or?
I'm going to try to make as many queens as I can and not expand. I'm basically tweaking what I have, basically this year, and trying not to. I don't want no more than what I got because it's too much work and working a job too. But I'm basically trying to rear queens is what I'm going to do this year. And I'm going to make honey and sell nukes too. So
that's another thing I ordered. I ordered some queen new JZBZ queen frames, queen rearing frames, and Chinese.
Yeah, I wondered if y'all picked any of them up yet.
I ordered mine on Amazon, so they're be coming this week.
Yeah,
I went on a little shopping spree yesterday, so now we're waiting again till more money comes in.
I hear you. I make most of my stuff. I've been working on some frames. Let me get them out of here. I've got to work on the ears on this one. Right here.
Right.
I beef up.
You make them wider or you shave them down?
No, I'll cut these down yet. I still got to do that. But see, I'll staple these in.
Right.
And then I'll put the metal here that beefs it up even more. Plus, I can spot it right off the bat, right? But just basic slide in, slide out. Pretty easy to put together. I've got about 5 of them here, I think. Here's some old ones. Just made out of a little old medium frame.
Charlie, I see your test went over to YouTube, but I still don't see the other stuff coming back into the.
Yeah, Lee's trying to work on it here. Spanky says he wants to talk to you, Bob.
Wants to talk to me?
I heard that your stream chat was having trouble getting chat messages.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll give him a call.
Okay. We can't get the scrolling over here on the StreamYard.
Yeah, the chat's just it's not bringing the stuff over like it usually does from YouTube. I'm gonna grab a drink, guys. I'll be right back.
If I take this YouTube and turn it off and then bring it back up, I wonder if that would work. I don't know. Let me try that. Let me try it again.
Let's see.
Well, Phil and son of one is here. Hey, Phil. Hey, Ed. Having a little bit of difficulty here.
The chat's not coming over.
Chat's not coming over. I just X'd it out and brought it back up again. It doesn't seem to be doing anything better.
Oh yeah, he's using the pop out chat. It is fast. He's using the pop out chat. Well, the other thing is we can't pull stuff up on the screen because it's not showing, it's not scrolling on the side, right? So you can't add that comment to the stream.
Yeah, that's true. Gene, it says, hi, Mark, this is Gene. I was going to try to get a hold of you. I'm not too far from you. I'm just up by Bradwell, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Gene Nelson.
Eugene
Nelson. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to get out to him on Bob's chat the other day to send him my email, but I don't think it went through.
Yeah, he's not too far.
I put on there that I'm going to do some quartering classes for our club for the guys that are a little more advanced and that wants to learn. But it's got to be in season, them dates. So.
Right. Hey, John Conley.
I'm only going to do 1 or 2 or 3 people at a time instead of a whole bunch because I can't handle a whole lot trying to learn how to graft all at once.
Right. Well, what we did was when we were down at Knoxville, we had 25 people there, but then they had 2 frame rests,
right,
or easels, and then they would put in the frames and they would make up lines, and then they would just keep, doing it themselves and all that stuff, and just kind of doing it. They would go and each person would do a couple minutes worth, and then the next guy would get down, or girl or whatever.
I want to have it to where when they get here, we can do a cell builder. We can go ahead and build a cell builder, and I'll already have one made. We can pull cells out of, put them cells in the incubator, graft one, put it in so they can see their work, after they do a few rounds and get it down pat, then they can see their work the next week, come back and do it again. Be 2 rounds.
Right. Well, we didn't. We didn't have that opportunity to do that. We were just learning how to do the art of grafting itself.
Yeah.
And then I came home and just figured out how to make up a cell builder.
The cell builder really is the main part.
Really, it is.
The grafting part's the easy part, really.
And all. Everybody's chatting off to the left-hand side there. Lee's trying to fix this here, but I'm not sure I was wondering whether do we have to go off and come back on, or is that'll
close the stream out.
That'll close the stream out. So, well, we won't go too far more here. Maybe another half an hour, and then I got to shut it down.
Yeah, and I don't know how to send him my email. I can tell it to him.
You got a tricky email.
Huh?
What's it?
I said you got a tricky email.
It's flashim.meal at Yahoo.
He says he's interested in the classes, Mark, and I'm usually been cutting queen cells from my nukes. So what did you call, what is your email? I'll put it in the chat for you.
It's smaller case, flash, FLASH.
FLASH.
M, like Mark, dot, MILL.
Flash M, at what?
Flash M dot meal.
Yeah.
At Yahoo.
At YAHOO in it. Let's see. Who was Eugene was looking for that? All right, Eugene Nelson. I'm going to give you Mark's email address. It'll be on the chat.
And I'm not going to be feeding everybody either. It's just
bring a burger.
I can't do that. Bring your own booze and burger or whatever.
Bring your own eats.
Matter of fact, They need to bring you a sandwich for you teaching them how to graft queens.
There you go. Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna give it the old college try this year. I got the stuff now. I think I'm gonna get a grafting table from James, a little easel.
I don't know. Yeah.
Or I'll sit in my truck with it on the steering wheel like they do up in Canada.
I looked at James's and I've got the one, the one that you showed. Let's see, Man Lake has or Kelly has.
Mm-hmm.
That one is kind of cheap. I bought a guy out and he had that one. Now the downside of that thing is that those screws that try to hold the frame in there, that frame will fly or slip out because mines are not wood. Mine are plastic. And what I did was I got some 1/4-inch plywood, something, some 1/4-inch wood, and I made little squares. And I put them in each corner. So when that frame goes in there, it would rest on those. You don't have to worry about those screws up top. It'll just rest on them two corners.
Right.
And it doesn't really mess with the eggs or the comb or anything like that. Right. And matter of fact, let me go grab it. It's right in the house here.
Maybe if Bob will make all that money, he can get me one from Apis Engineering, one of them aluminum ones. They're about $300.
Are they really?
Yeah, and then they've got the camera that mounts on it where everybody can see what you're doing with that camera. That would be cool. With like if you're having classes, they can see what you're doing on that camera. Because I think I can set that up with the phone myself.
You're talking about
the larva station or grafting station, I think is what it is on there.
The one that's called the Queen Station?
No, it's grafting station.
The Queen Station uses those little CO2 bottles that you use for like a pellet gun.
That's for insemination and all. This is the grafting
equipment.
Go under pricing. Go up to pricing.
The price list.
And then drop down to grafting station.
$279.
Yeah. See, they've got that where the camera sets up on top too. It's made out of aluminum. It's pretty nice. I want that for my birthday, Bob.
When I hit the Powerball, we'll give some nice stuff away.
There you go.
Let me see the
Right.
what? How much do they sell their queens for out there? Apis Engineering. Oh, Apis Engineering offers open-mated mite biter honeybee queens and instrumentally inseminated mite biter queens, as well as nucleuses in season, but they don't have any price on it. That's the thing. If you're gonna have a website, you got to keep it up to date, you know. And a lot of these guys don't keep their sites up to date.
Let's see if that's going to work at all.
I got a new microscope in today, electronic microscope.
Right.
So now I can pull mites and like off the bottom board and see if they've been chewed up or whatever. I can look at the bees. I can do all kind of stuff with that thing.
They don't have that toolbox on their website either. The one I just bought from them.
Yeah, and I didn't see that nuke either. That incubator nuke. I don't see it on the website either.
Yeah, it's 2022 prices too.
Yeah, I was wondering how much that thing cost.
And they're in Indiana, so any bees they have will be way after my thing.
All right. I don't know whether you can see this thing or not.
You got to turn your virtual background off probably to see it.
Yeah. See what I can get done here. Virtual background, none. Okay, here it is.
Right.
Yeah.
You got the little tray here that you put your cells in. I never use that. I just lay the bar on my table. But what I did was I put these little squares in each corner like that.
Right.
Down at the bottom. Now this notch down here, that's for if you're going to do medium frames. And I don't, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I'll turn it around so you can see what I did. All I did was just, put some screws in there. Thing's about 1/4 inch thick, maybe 3/8 of an inch, probably around 3/8. And all I did is put the squares on there like that. And then, so here I've got the frame in here, and I just lay it in there. And these things that are supposed to stay up in the wood don't. And, the bolts, and it just lays right in there like that on them wooden pieces. And let me turn it around so you see the back end. See, so the squares
keep it from
hold the frame in from slipping through.
Yeah, I like it.
The guy, I bought the guy out, and it was, queen rearing equipment, JZ, BZ, queen cages. He had a whole bag full for like 100, and all that kind of stuff. And so I did that to it, and it worked out fine. Now, the only other problem I found with this thing is you have these wing nuts on the side to hold this thing in place on an angle. And it
how much
works.
was that thing?
Huh?
No, the JZ, he's got a whole jar full of JZBZ.
That's a bag full, basically. Fits in a gallon jar. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bag full. There's like 100 of them in there at least.
And you got you.
So yeah. So anyway, it just it's an okay setup. It isn't real. I mean, it's not real supportive and all that kind of stuff, and that kind of a thing, where
they're that lockdown system they have on the top probably doesn't work that well. Hey, Brad.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't really work down. So I put that together and I use that and it grafts pretty good. Usually I got to put a bar or a piece of wood up behind it in order so the darn frame doesn't fall over
Right.
and all that kind of stuff. So
Brad,
what's happening, Brad?
How you doing, Brad?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Oh, not much. Just Sunday. We worked in the shop a bit today. My wife was building frames. I kind of got somewhere on my radial arm saw, which I was happy about.
nice.
Well, that's good.
I had been rebuilding it. I don't know if you've been watching the saga online, but working on it.
Yeah,
so I got
you
the
were-
table mounted and the fence built and stuff.
Yeah, you were working on the table and stuff the last time I seen
Yeah,
and everything.
yeah. So that's mostly finished now.
I ordered 2 licensed 6-frame poly nukes, and I was like, well, I'm going to try what Brad was talking about. And then I spoke to James today. He said, you need 3 of them. I was like, damn, I only ordered 2. So,
well, I don't know. A poly nuke, you can't do that. Shared supers.
But the licensed
idea.
poly nukes don't have that lip on it like the other ones do. They're flat like a regular Langstroth box.
Yeah, but are they going to hold the weight? That's the thing I'm thinking of the
And
honey.
they're thicker, too.
Well, so why is he saying you need 3? I don't understand.
Well, your setups are 3 6 frames with a 10 frame on top, right?
Yeah, it doesn't work with poly though because they're thicker. The overall width of 3 of those is wider than 3 wooden boxes.
So I wonder
if
if
excluder is not going to work.
Yeah.
Well, what they were doing was 3 side by side with 2 10 frames on top of them.
The Lyson was doing that?
No, that's what you guys were doing, right? 3.
Yeah, but wooden boxes.
So
like different dimensions. Those Lysons are way thicker walls than a wooden box.
you know what? I don't even think they show the dimensions on the
Those
on the
walls
slide.
are at least about 1.5 inches thick.
Yeah,
Really?
an inch and something, inch and a quarter, inch and a half.
Yeah.
All right, so back to figuring out plan B then. Literally.
Yeah,
But-
that plan really works only for wooden boxes.
Well, then we'll drop back and punt, figure something else out.
Now they're
Now,
a decent
Brad-
6-frame box. There's nothing wrong with running a nuke in those.
There was somebody here that watched your program, and either he or she was looking, or she was figuring out the dimensions.
Yeah.
And isn't it on, what's it called? What was your dimensions are listed on something, SketchArt or something?
Yeah, SketchUp. I don't
SketchUp.
know if people are familiar with SketchUp.
I am. I actually had the program. I just never could figure out how to use it.
I can see if I can find it. I got this giant cat in front of me again, but
The Mega Cat.
yeah. It's a SketchUp.
Let's see.
I can't.
Bob, you
find
can
it
might
now.
can make that
Warehouse.
work. Got thinking on that. You might can make them work if you lay your 2 queen excluders up there and cut you a board to go in between your 2 queen excluders and then lay your boxes up there. It might work.
Like just a 3/4 piece of wood.
Just a piece of wood to cover what your queen excluders don't cover. I don't know if the boxes are set up there though, right?
Well, the one thing you can do is put your nukes in there, and they're insulated, which will protect them as far as early spring if you have a dip in your weather.
Well, I'm hoping the insulation will help with the heat as well.
Oh yeah, I would think so.
So let me see. It doesn't say the thickness of the box. These websites are so crazy. Yeah, so I just got 2 of those 6-frame boxes, and then I got 2 of the deep supers to go on top of those. So, and the feeders, which I guess that's
that's what I use on my nukes, on my 5-framers.
Now that feeder has the little plastic plug in the middle. You leave that just plugged up.
I don't, that there's not a hole there. I don't use that at all. That's for like sugar feeding.
Okay.
And they give you the plug, but I don't cut that hole open at all. I only use it for liquid.
All right. So yeah, it'll be an interesting setup.
I pasted a link to that 3D warehouse, Charlie, with the equipment diagrams.
There's something wrong with the chat tonight. It's not bringing the stuff over from YouTube to. Yeah, there's no dimensions on this thing at all. So.
Did you paste it in the chat, Brad?
I did on the YouTube side. Oh, I see. It's not coming through on StreamYard.
No, it's not.
So, Charlie, I just
here it comes. Or that's the box there.
Yeah, that's the boxes right there. So you can't tell how big that is. If that's 7/8.
Looks pretty close.
I didn't think it was that much thicker from the picture, but that's all I got to go by is the picture, right? So don't really know.
It's
that's the licensed box.
That's the licensed 6-frame. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it maybe isn't that much thicker because I know the Paradise boxes are way thicker than a wooden box.
And their bottom board is flush; it doesn't stick out.
Yeah.
So
is Brian? Brian says it's 7/8.
Oh, so it is the same as the Canadian boxes, but see, our deep boxes are 3/4, so it'd still be a little bit off.
It'll be close enough. It'll be close enough because
3 nukes, 2 queen excluders, 2 deep boxes.
So you'll be a total of 3/4 off overall, so 3/8 on each side, and if you center it properly, it'll still cover all 3 boxes.
Just make sure you get them queen excluders together.
Yeah, exactly. And what I do is I'll use the metal ones, and if you notice on the metal ones, you have how do I explain it? You have one side has all of the rods that are close together to hold the queen down, and then on the other side you have a few support rods that are spaced out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is make sure it's flipped so that the support rods are on top,
right,
and the queen excluder rods are on the bottom, so that those queen excluder rods sit flush on the box edge. It just gives you more. I don't think the queen would get through with that little space just for the rod anyway, but that's just a little bit of insurance to flip it over so that those support rods are on top. Yeah. And you're right, like Mark says, you make sure those suckers are pushed, because in the center, I'm losing my video today, because in the center where the queen excluders touch, that's under your center box. So if your queen excluders are not,
she can walk right up in there.
Yeah, you're going to have a big gap. So make sure that's real tight.
Then we'll have a second brood chamber above the other. And you killed the queen will probably get killed.
Run you a piece of duct tape across there.
Yeah, you could do that.
Now, Philip Morris, he just said, Brad, that was a good tip. So I don't know whether you can see that. I'm not see that or not.
It's not.
Like I say, I talked to Lee, and he talked to the help desk on the StreamYard, and they said I would have to basically reboot the system. So we're not going to do that. We're going to go here for a little while and then quit for the night.
What I've been doing before I figured this out, I would just bring out a second window on my browser. I'd bring up the YouTube behind it, and then I'd resize my second window so I could still see the chat.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing here on my screen. I pulled the YouTube off to the left, and I can see the chat running. That's how I know what to do. And then on the right hand side is just us four and everything.
I was working on my presentation tonight, Charlie.
Oh, good.
I might get carried away though.
That's fine. What will we call it? Has you got a label for it or name?
What am I calling it?
Title.
Let's see. Well, the interest seemed to be on mainly on equipment.
Okay.
So I titled it "Equipment and Management at Faith Apiaries."
You speaking to his bee club?
No, we're going to have that on Friday night.
Friday night?
Well, we kind of got into a little bit of that last Friday night. And
you seen all those pictures and stuff, didn't you, Bob?
Yeah. I just said Tuesday night they're going to be on our stream, and then Friday night they're going to be on your stream. It's gonna
by Wednesday I'll be divorced.
But my wife just gave up on it. She knows, what's going on. And
equipment. What else was it, Brad? You had a title?
Equipment and management.
Okay, management.
That's just what I call that.
That's cool.
Just the file name. I had to choose something.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
Keith says Keith's faithful is looking forward for Friday night.
So the three with the three side by side like that, two are facing one direction, one's facing the back. And the overall benefit is, or you could run them all the same way.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I do. I generally run them the same way. I change them around the way you described if I'm using for mating, but that's all.
So let me put a banner here.
And that's it. The only thing it does is it lets those nukes make honey, more honey together.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like first, it's specifically really for your new nukes. Divorce means more time for streams. Yay! Because new queens aren't going to swarm, so you can just keep them real tight in there, and then they have to go up into your honey supers to.
Now, Bob, is Brad them going to be on your channel or Kodiak? Kodiak.
This week is Lee's channel.
Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm. This Tuesday's on Lee's channel.
Lee, yeah, Kodiak.
All right. And now, like to let everybody know that's looking in right now that Brad and James McNally, also from Canada, and Ian is confirmed on that. Ian Stepler.
Mm-hmm.
They're all confirmed. They're all going to be 3 guests on Bob and Lee's live stream Tuesday night, 8:00. It'll be on the Kodiak Farms live stream. So I think the notification's already out. Click the notification so you can get notified
and
everything.
And then the following week, I've got a gentleman from New Zealand coming on, so on my channel. So we're spanning the globe, learning all kinds of cool stuff. So it'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I've actually got to sit down probably tomorrow and write a list of questions so we can grill y'all while we have all 3 of you there. Going to put you to the task, make you earn your non-pay for coming on the stream.
Ian in the room, I don't know if I had much to say.
Well, it was funny because when you and James were on the last time, Ian was in the chat and Ian was asking you guys questions in the chat, which I found quite interesting. I'm like, save it till Tuesday. Save it till Tuesday. So it'll be an interesting conversation, I think.
Ian never gets tired of talking bees, don't you worry.
And he'll have his double crack and eggnog over there probably. Are you drinking your honey tonight, Brad?
No, I was drinking water. It looks like water. Put a little bit of that with a little bit of this. It's real tasty.
Fresca and
Fresca gin.
Tanqueray.
Yeah.
It tastes probably like a grapefruit pine tree.
Something like that. It's a very, very citrus kind of a drink. Very easy to drink for sure.
So it's gonna this year. I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting year because I know what direction I want to go, but unfortunately I can't bring my mind to commit to this is what I'm gonna do, and that's bad, right? At this point of the game for me anyway.
Well, not really. Not really.
Have fun with it.
Yeah. Be versatile.
Try to, do a little bit of everything. Sell a few queens, sell a few nukes, make some honey.
That's what I do. I don't just concentrate on honey. I raise queens, sell nukes, do it all.
I think key, instead of worrying about having all your plans nailed down, key is make sure you have equipment available, because that's the thing that takes time to procure.
Right.
You've got equipment sitting around ready to go, and you decide one day to do this or that. Bob's your uncle. You just grab some equipment.
Right.
You ever
just give her the old college try.
Yeah.
Well,
so many people are just saying, "Oh, can't do this, can't do that," because they don't have any equipment. Well, get some equipment.
Right.
Yeah. I know Bob said he had some extra equipment, and I told him, just try to fill them all up with bees and go from 19 to 40, and along with getting some nukes for your insurance policy for the winter, and then try your handed grafting and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you expand to 40 and you keep 20 overwintered nukes, you're gonna be set for next year.
Then by the time people buy those nukes, then I've got the equipment to split my stuff back into them. And
you'll have early nukes to sell, or you can keep them for your own self.
Yeah.
Well, the main thing is that the nukes is your common insurance policy when you need a queen, either right before winter or fall hits. Of course, your temperatures are not quite as bad and all that stuff.
Man, this chat thing's aggravating the crap out of me over there.
Yeah, I know. Spanky, what's happening?
No, nothing too much.
Yeah. Yeah. I got kind of bored tonight, so I figured, well, I'd start this up tonight. Usually Bob does this type of thing. So I figured, well,
I took the night off.
He took the night off, and I picked it up.
And here I am again.
Funny thing is, we're having a little bit of a streaming problem here, but anyway.
But it's working. It is working. The bad thing is back to work tomorrow.
Yep.
Got to pay the light bill. Or try to.
What time you got to be at work, Bob?
Oh, I got banker's hour. I got to be there at 8 for a meeting. Matter of fact, I need to make sure my work phone is charged up.
I got to be rolling by 1:30.
I think I'd be in bed by now.
Yeah, that sucks.
I slept most of the day.
So this is like your morning time, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, pretty much.
You got to be at work at 1:30 in the morning?
I got to have my truck rolling by 1:30, yeah.
In other words, you're not even going to take a nap before work tonight, probably.
Probably not. No.
That's the
yeah.
Junk mail, more junk mail. VA. But
yes, like for Friday night, I know Brad's coming up with equipment and management. And like one of the things we learned last Friday about putting in them green frames, which actually reduces the amount of burr comb in between the boxes on top of the frames, which is a huge time saver for me, especially in the springtime, because I usually clean the boxes so I can get them apart the next time better.
Right.
So I'm going to definitely drop some green frames in, see if that doesn't work for me.
Keep you from having all them drones in between boxes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And all that. So that's probably what Brad's going to kind of talk about, those types of things and how he manipulates and whatever. Right, Brad?
Well, honestly, Charlie, I just started going through all my pictures that I saved from day one, and I'm not going to belabor everything, but I thought some context would really help some understanding of, what I'm talking about, to go from one thing to another. I'm not going to belabor the early days. I know sometimes I watch presentations and it's an hour presentation and 50 minutes of it is the history of the subject matter. It's kind of like, okay, let's let's hear about modern times, right?
Right. That's the thing. I mean, the main thing is I mean, I know you keep bees a little bit different as far as, on pallets and stuff like that, where
Sure.
most folks have, like me, where we're stationary. But management, techniques like with the green frame and what some of the benefits are. Because, I mean, they're kind of relatively new. I mean, they've been out for a while, but,
Seemed to me
knowing
they were
what,
kind of new when I started, wasn't it? 2015 or so. It was sort of a new
yeah,
thing
something
then, I
like
think.
that. And what you can utilize them for and understanding, some of the stuff which was good. It's just like with me, I'm going to be using Apricot this year. Well, I watched Bob Benny's video on how to apply that mite treatment. And I'm like, is that all there is to it? And it's relatively simple and with a syringe and all. And I do like the bucket idea where you can, get what do you call it, manipulate the dosage amount with that syringe, whether it be 25 milliliters or 50 for 2 weeks or 25 for 4 weeks in a row. Or I think Bob was doing 30 for a single brood chamber box and all that, compared to a 10, which is, I think it's 50 milliliters in there. And some people I've seen actually cut it in half or scrape it out half of it. And
Charlie,
stuff.
when you get ready to do that, take a permanent marker. If you're going to do 30 milligrams or whatever, and go around that syringe with a permanent marker, because by the time you get down to about the midways, that stuff, you can't read the milligrams on it. Yeah.
Oh, really? We eat it up?
Yeah, it just disappears. That stuff,
Yeah, that's what Bob did. He actually, his help.
Yeah, and that works. It works.
Put a black line around the 50 milliliter marking, and then they did 30. And I think they were doing 30 for 3 weeks. I know Craig Branch showed that on when he was doing it this past summer, the sideline beekeeper out of, I think, South Carolina. I'm not sure where he lives at. I didn't see him at Hive Life this year, and he hasn't been really posting anything. Of course, not now.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. He hasn't been really posting anything, or you haven't seen him on the scene, I guess you would say. So I don't know what the deal was, what's happening with him.
I haven't even seen him on Facebook.
Yeah, it seemed like he just dropped off YouTube and everything else. Because he was running, I don't know, 50 or 100 hives, something like that.
Well, see, last year, this time of the year, he went through his colonies and dropped apivar strips in all of his colonies. It was right about now that he went through and just dropped mite strips in to, I guess, any mites that were in there over the winter, that he tried to knock them out. And I bought a bunch, so who knows? I don't want to, set anybody back right now, but if they got mites, they need to get gone, right? So, see, I might be out there this week if it warms up dropping strips in with nails this time, not with the little cheap thing that they've got on there.
Yeah, that always presses against the other wax and everything.
Yeah, then it just gets recessed in the wax. They won't build behind it.
Yeah, and what I usually do is I use the nails, and then I usually kind of spread the frames where they're at, so they're trying to hang in midair. So I try to alleviate that. Sometimes it doesn't quite work.
That way you get 100% efficiency. That way.
Yeah.
And I never used Apivart last year was my first year using that, and now I've got them again this year to try them again. So,
what do you use, Brad, as far as different types of mite treatment?
I've been rotating Apivar and oxalic acid vapor. Apivar in spring, vapor in the fall. It's been working well for me. Our very complete broodless period in the fall is just perfect for oxalic acid vapor, and it works very well.
That's the biggest thing is you're, like you have said and Ian have said, is that you actually have a defined season.
Yeah.
Where you are 100% broodless. And I've seen somebody scientifically, I don't know what it was, Sealy or one of these other folks that said that you guys up there in Canada, boom, it's broodless season, and it really, the oxalic acid works very well for you because of that.
Yeah, I did when I first got my vaporizer. I tried it out in the spring, and it didn't work very well at all. And spring is good for Apivar because we have that window of no nectar flow, so it's just a perfect time to get that Apivar in there, treat them, get it out, and then we have a waiting period before we get them a nectar flow.
Well, like this year, I did Formic Pro, and then I came behind that with, I happened to have a window of opportunity weather-wise. And then I did Apivar for 6 weeks. Then I come behind that with into the winter time for me, November, December, and a little bit of October. I hit them at least a couple times a month. And
wow.
Yeah, I mean, I did get the national survey back, so my mite count was out of 8 hives was 0.2. So that and it didn't have any of the other viruses. Or now they didn't come back. It's only a half of a report. It's visual was 0, and the mite count with alcohol wash was 2 mites per. There was 1,097 bees, I think, that they washed. They found 2 mites.
I think my wash after my Apivar in the spring, so that would have been an early June wash. My count was 3 mites in 3,000 bees. That's pretty good control.
That's good control. Good control.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've been trying to get out there in this month to hit them at least once, but the weather's just, last January, it was the same way. It was cold and wasn't able to do anything. And I finally got into them. I think it was the last weekend in February where the weather finally kind of got warmed up a little bit. So, but anyway, but that's what I use. I mean, it's like everything else. It's very location defined depending on what you got to do. I know down where Bob is, it's hotter. He can't use Formic Pro, but I would probably say if he was using 3 different type of products, he would probably be the hottest part of the year would be like a Apivar, and then a cooler portion, let's say later in the fall, September, I guess is warm, not too warm, 75 at least.
Yeah.
During the day. And I would say it'd be a perfect time for Formic Pro. And then
the winter, hit them with OA.
Hit them with, if you got, I mean, you still got some brood in there, but it's like here in Maryland, we still have a patch of brood, even in the winter, I believe. I mean, February is coming around the corner. And I'd say the second week or so, we're going to have a patch of brood, maybe 2 inches in diameter, capped with some eggs. I seen one last year where the eggs were encompassing that patch of brood. So they're starting to build by that time for me.
I got a question about something you said just now, Charlie.
Yeah.
I think you basically said that Apivar is better off in warm weather or hot climates or something.
Well, it's not temperature sensitive with Apivar.
Okay. Now, I want to give you some homework.
Okay.
I should ask you what sources are you using for that? Is it just something that
I'm
kind of
looking
makes
at
sense,
the
or?
BIP. I guess it's BIP, Bee Informed Partnership.
Okay.
The printouts and stuff, and also the what do you call it? The parameters from the company itself.
Yeah.
I know that Formic Pro says what is it, Spanky, under?
Got to be under 85 with
85.
85, but I would not put it in there at that temperature. My personal experience is I like it under 80 degrees, and that under 80 degrees with low humidity for at least 4 days. So the first 3 to 4 days is when it's the most potent.
Right.
And you gotta be very careful with that one. Very careful. Like I know some other folks around me, they jumped in there and they might have had a window of opportunity there for about 3 days, and then maybe it's slightly changed, and then they had some queen issues. Now I did have some queen issues this year, and I'm not sure whether it was the Formic Pro I had a problem with, or I do know I had 2 queens in my honey hives that the one was definitely dead or gone before I put the medicine in there. So I couldn't blame it on that. And I think a second one that I missed, the population was still good, but I missed it as far as before I put it in there. And that one she was also gone. But my big thing for me this year is to make sure, is to make sure I know what my age of my queens are. Like you say, get rid of the 2-year-old after the 2-year-olds, and keep them fresh and all that.
You guys might have talked about this before I arrived, but did you see that new video that Bob Binney put out talking about the polyandry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really listen to it.
It's one of those videos you
closely.
really need to listen to, and not multitask, because you'll miss it. I think that video is absolutely full of gold to me. Yeah.
I'll have to review it then and really listen to it.
If I could summarize, I would say that the conclusion in the meaning to me, the conclusion is that you should maybe stress a little less about selecting exact traits and just concentrate on providing many drones and diversity. And that's kind of what I took from that talk. That just increase, if you're raising queens, just increase the number of drones that you have remarkably, and make sure they have a diverse background, different queens. And so that was just how I would summarize it.
Okay. So
Makes sense. That way, when you're mating queens, you're getting a well-mated queen because of the drones, and that you're going to breed from your best stock that you have, right? So you are kind of propagating a superior bee for your yard.
Yeah, but he talks about that kind of a theory, and he kind of doesn't shoot it down, but he kind of downplays it and says that's not really the most important thing. He really talks about specifically just pound the drones, like make sure that those queens get mated by as many drones as possible. And one little thing, here's a little tip, and I was talking to Ian about this. Ian hadn't watched the video, and I said, this video has a little tidbit in it, and you do all of that equalization that you do in your colonies in the spring and throughout the spring season. And I said, that's working for you because of the diversity that you're getting in those bees. It's a temporary diversity, but it's a diversity no less that uh, the diversity in those bees that you're putting into that colony from another colony is doing nothing but good things for that colony in the big picture. So even just that.
Okay.
Because of the genetics, or is it
genetics. You really have to watch the video to get the
Okay,
real
well,
scientific reasoning
I'll
behind
have
it.
to
But
sit there and
it's
really
just
think.
the basis of everything this guy's saying is diversity, and lots and lots of drones to mate with your queens. Not specific, not as much killing yourself on this trait or that trait
Now,
necessarily.
M&J says, so green frames and all highs, question mark, question mark, question
Green
mark.
frames and a strip of apivar in all hives.
Yeah. And M&J, as Brad was here on Friday night, and because of the green frames, you have left drone brood throughout the hive, whether it be on top of the frames or in some of your, where your worker bee frames are, that keeps it out of that. So that's one of the positives too.
I've got some drones actually walking around in my colonies right now.
Yeah.
And I did, when I was taking those boxes off, I had drone combs on top of some of those frames as well. So hopefully they get to work on actually pulling out one of those green frames. That would be lovely. I can't get them to draw them out, so I'm trying to recoat them.
I think one of the reasons most people try to start too early and they don't have the many drones that they need that are mature to mate. They just want to start way too early and they need to give themselves 2 weeks.
Yeah, they talked about that, and it was kind of agreed that definitely is a disadvantage.
Now, DC says, I'll stick to the story frame. I have no need for that many drones.
That's quite a few drones anyway, so don't you worry.
Yeah, they talked about as many as mating was 70
might want to go over that also Friday night and
70,
clarify that.
The world record is 70 something. Yeah, drones mated
that
with queen.
That they went in and actually counted the sperm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Now he was saying most queens is between 10 and 20. But maximize that.
Right. And then DC talks about, he says, there's 40 plus hives apiary within a mile of me. So he's got a lot of
perfect
influence there. Yeah.
As long as they're not Africanized or some bloody thing.
Yeah. I'm not sure where does DC,
he's in Washington State, right?
Washington State. Okay.
Brad, he talked about that diversity working together in the hive. Did you catch all that? Did you understand that?
It made sense when he was talking about it. Yeah. He talked about how you could get one. We select for, say, a VSH,
right.
Trait, and he said you can absolutely overselect that, and then they're hauling out perfectly healthy pupa out of the hive. They're just going over the top, and he said that's real. That actually happens. So he says that diversity is absolutely king, because you're going to have all of those different traits, all those different jobs being done in the hive, which really speaks to me, because I hate trying to select for this or that, because that's record keeping, and I don't want to do record keeping. I want to do beekeeping.
Yeah.
Right. My mind is going a million miles a minute. Now I got to go watch that video. I did see it. I didn't watch it either.
I watched it twice, and my mind was going a million miles a minute.
And
it's like, I could do this. I could do this.
I was talking to James earlier, and he says, "Yeah, my mind." He said his mind doesn't shut off. I said, "Well, my mind doesn't either." And the bad thing is, I go down rabbit holes, right? So I'll get on one train of thought, and then I got to follow that all the way to the bottom, and then in my conversation with James, James is like, "Well, you could do this." And then I'm like, "Damn it, James! Now I got a whole another rabbit hole to go down to figure things out." You know,
throws a fork in the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh. So it just it's crazy, the different things. Like I've got this one that's particularly stronger than all the rest right now for whatever reason. They're just slamming. And so when the weather was nice last week, I shook nurse bees into a pro nuke and then added them into a little bit weaker colony that didn't have that many bees to help them take care of the brood. And I'm like, yeah, well, I can do that on this colony and on this colony and give them a week, and they're hatching more brood out, and and I'm already trying to. I guess it is artificially. I'm not making splits. I'm not taking the brood frames out, but I am taking some of the nurse bees out, and sharing that wealth with a little bit smaller colonies so their queen can start ramping up a little bit quicker. And so, that when I get those poly nukes, that's probably going to happen again, right? So I'm going to go through and shake some nurse bees into a pro nuke. I'm going to take those two little smaller nukes and put them in the poly nuke and give them some extra nurse bees to let them go, and maybe take a frame of cap brood out if they've got plenty and put them in there and just give them some extra numbers so they'll start ramping up a little bit quicker.
Well, in my operation, that's key. The populations, because the queen in the spring, my queens will lay as fast as the cluster can tend to what she's laying, and
Right.
she can't outlay them. She can. Sometimes she outlays them. The weather turns cold, and then you get chilled brood, and they abandon. They cannibalize eggs and larvae and abandon pupa and whatnot.
So I'm going to try to get those two poly nukes and take advantage with the weather a little bit cooler at night, the extra insulation, and try to get those to start really starting to pop. At least that's the plan. Could totally backfire and blow up in my face like everything else I try the first time.
So, okay, let's get specific. When are you going to start that?
Well, probably mid February here.
And
we'll
what
have
are
queen
your temperatures going to be?
Typically, that is when the everybody starts making their splits down here between the middle of February, Valentine's Day, and March 1st. The queen breeder here is going to start having queen cells March 1st, or the first week of March. So in the next, within the next month, all of that'll be starting up.
But you're telling me you're wanting to put this plan in place with an insulated hive, and that tells me that you're concerned about temperatures. So what temperatures are you looking at?
Well, today it's really cold, but let me pull up my weather again.
But again, didn't the plan you just described to me, didn't you say you'd be starting that in the middle of February?
Yeah, usually in the middle of February is when we can do that.
So
obviously that's a little bit flexible.
What are your temperatures at that point that you would be kind of thinking I should have an insulated hive for this? That's what I'm curious about.
Well, I was just going to use that because this colony, the cluster size in those two 5-frame nukes that I'm overwintering is kind of small at the moment.
Yeah.
To try to pull
like say those temperatures. What are those temperatures normally?
So let me pull the calendar up here and go to February view. Middle of February. is highs in the 60s typically.
Lows are.
Well, it's just giving me average, but they're around 40.
That's
Lows
pretty
of
low.
40.
So, and again, that's just historically, and typically it's a little bit warmer than what it has on here. At least it's been the past. If we
See,
go
I'm
to
optimistic in my spring when the nighttime temperatures are above freezing. Then I get optimistic that they can start getting a foothold.
right,
And I'm in just 7/8 wooden boxes. So, that's not too far different than what you're saying.
and then when you start looking, well, I mean, it doesn't even change too much in the first week of March. It's still mid 60s, like 65 Fahrenheit to 40, 41, 40, usually right in the 40s.
Sounds like if you're going to do is this for queens?
No, just getting the like those nuke boxes, shaking extra bees in them to help them ramp up a little bit faster and kind of equalizing them out a little bit.
Our historical temperatures don't go over 0. No, I should look it up instead of just saying it. I think -10. Our historical temperatures are above -10. I believe it's on about the 15th to 20th of March. -10 is, I don't know, what's that in F? 5 for
Degree.
32,
Well,
27,
0 is 32.
26, 27 degrees or something.
Yeah, that's cold.
F.
Yeah.
And that's about when I would target to move my bees outside, when the night times are warmer than -10 C.
So talk in the middle of April. Sorry. Once we get to April, daytime temperature is room temperature, 72, 73 degrees, with 48 as the low. So
See, Canadian room temperature is 68 F. We don't like it too hot.
and then once we hit the end of April, 80 degrees plus.
Yeah.
So.
Well, guys, it's 5 or 6 minutes after 11 here on the
Charlie's
Eastern.
fading.
I'm done.
All right.
We gotta close it up. We'll get together. Everybody, it's still on the chat. Remember this coming Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard on Kodiak Farm. That's Lee's channel. Brad, Ian, and James will be the guest speakers for that night.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it'll be quite an evening.
Should be fun.
And then Brad is going to be on my Friday night chat this coming Friday, and at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and he's going to be talking about equipment and management and having some cool looking pictures and stuff. And we kind of got into a little bit of that last Friday night, which was really wonderful. Quite a bit of an eye opener.
Should be plenty of shenanigans.
Well, I'll tell you, I between the last 2 Friday nights, which are my, first 2 regular streams, it's been quite
been interesting.
It's been very interesting, very informative, and everything else along with it and everything. So I'm excited myself to watch what Brad has kind of got coming up for us.
Well, I hope it's interesting. You're building it up so much.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the pictures and stuff that you showed me last time.
It was fun. It's weird to me. I don't think that people really think what I'm doing is very interesting a lot of the time. It's just life to me. But if people are interested in seeing, I'm more than happy to share.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we love it. I mean, it's a different, I mean, you're like you say, you're commercial and you're doing it maybe in different ways, but I've always found small tidbits and techniques that you can always pick up. It doesn't matter whether you're commercial or whatever, but you can apply it to your situation and all, just like you helping Bob out there tonight. There's, a lot of different ways you can skin the cat, as they say, but it's, Bob's
I agree.
Bob's going to have to kind of choose one method and see whether it works for him and his environment. Yep. And all that stuff. And I think you'll find, I have the one poly hive, and it's like Brad said, it's kind of a love-hate relationship with that thing. It's nice in one way and it's a pain in the other way. But
my thoughts, when I make the comments that they're expensive, but then when you start looking at it, so I bought that 6-frame nuke was $54 or something like that, but it comes with a bottom and a top and the hive body. And if you bought that in wood, it would at least be probably $60-$75. So it actually isn't really more expensive.
Yeah. I bought the one. It's a 6-frame nuke with, two deeps with a lid. And, you have to put it together with the screws, and then you have to paint it on the outside. And,
will spray paint melt it?
No, I use regular, paint, right out of the, like a regular 5-gallon can. I like that purple looking paint, my purple hives there. I painted it purple.
I used, just latex, exterior latex.
Yeah,
I sprayed it on, though. I found it difficult I tried to brush it, and it wouldn't lay properly. It doesn't soak in. So I sprayed it, and spraying it works really well.
So, you got to put it together, and, it's got these really long screws. But they got pre-drilled dimples and stuff like that in there. And anyway, I like it. It's a nice hive, and it's, it isn't like a styrofoam beer thing. It's hard. It's a hard plastic and everything. And then it comes with a propolis trap netting or screen,
Yeah, top for the top.
And there were some guys up here that, I don't use that. I don't use that. Well, I did. I felt like this. Hey, they put it in there for a reason. So let's say you put your top, your frames in, you put it on top of your frames. They will propolize that underneath there with propolis. And then what it does, it keeps that the lid actually has a cavity.
Right.
And that's for your, when you put your feeder on. And it keeps that burr comb from forming up in there. And it works quite well. And then the only thing is when you put your feeder on, of course, it's got those tabs that go out and sit on the edge where the feeder is. You just kind of like line it up. And then you have to unscrew your clamps, give them a little bit more opening there so that you just barely, I always have the clamp where when you fold it down, it just snaps, where it stays everything nice. And then as far as opening up the lid, I've often wondered about the propolis part of, between the lid and the top edge of that box, but it comes, you can put your hive tool in there real gently and it pops right off. No problem. You don't have no real sticky problems to really amount to anything. So, all right. Well, see, we got to wait for, it was almost 2.5 hours here. So let's wait for one more minute. We got
so
20
Bob,
seconds.
I got to ask you, you're talking about adding bees from one colony to another to give them some, some support. Have you considered double screen boards?
I do. I just bought my first double screen bottom boards. But I haven't ever used the double screen board prior. I still haven't used them. They're sitting in the back of my truck from Hive Life still.
Okay, but you got the theory about how that can help you out.
Mark here. Earlier on, Mark was showing us how he had made them up himself, and where he fit them on top of a 10 frame. And he had it made up to where he had another 10 frame box where he had a divider with a coroplast board in the center where he could use 2 5-frame, make that box into 2 5-frame nukes.
Yeah.
With vent holes under each side. And
so
it worked.
Let me
quite
ask
well.
you, what climate are you in, Mark?
I'm in Northwest Tennessee.
Okay.
What is this? 7B?
Yeah.
Something like it.
How big of holes did you make in it?
Uh,
Approximately. Are they 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch?
I'd say at least 2 inches.
Well-
What I
Okay, 2.5.
yeah.
you got a nuke here and a nuke here, and then
Yeah,
you've
an
got
inch and a
this
half.
here on each. Well, actually, you got 2 holes for each nuke. So
Right,
that's the size of a quart fruit jar lid.
okay.
That's 78 millimeters, I believe.
Isn't that about 3 1/4 or something?
And so
Something
that's
like that.
Yeah, the
that's
Canadians
about an
talking
inch.
inches, the Americans talking millimeters. That's just screwed up right there.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's the Canadian asking the American to convert from millimeters to inches because I don't understand.
Yeah.
Well, I thought
And,
that's what all you guys did was everything was in millimeters up there.
No, it's all
It's
it's a
English?
jumble. It's a jumble.
It's English.
No, well, I mean, I'm old, so I look at a lot of things in inches.
Well, let me ask you this, Brad: is the box being 7/8 of an inch thick? Is that because of the metric system up there?
No, that's history. That way predates the metric system. I have no idea where that came from.
Okay.
Extra R value, maybe. I don't know. Maybe just the first guy started milling lumber, just planed it to 7/8 and decided to build a box out of it.
I can't agree with you, Clues, because that metric system. I don't see where it's easier.
Let's see, 3 inches.
Well, if
is,
that's
I
all
think,
you know, it's
76.2
100 times
millimeters.
easier. But when you say 70 millimeters, I can't picture that.
Yeah.
I can measure things with my hand because I know my hand span is 9 inches. I don't know how many millimeters 9 inches is.
What did you say, Spanky? How wide's that hole?
Let's see, an inch is 25.4 millimeters, so
Right.
3 inches is about 76.2.
Yeah.
So that's about a little over 3 inches.
So that's why I said 3 1/4, right, Charlie?
Yeah, there you
See?
go. All right. All right, I gotta get off of here, and we all got to
You're
go
at
to work.
past 2.5.
We got 2.5 hours running here and everything. We still got 28 folks, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut down the chat tonight. And thanks for all coming out and helping
We'll
me
see
out
you
as far.
Tuesday.
And we'll see you Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, Kodiak Farms. We're gonna have the 3 amigos from Canada.
3 Canadian amigos.
And it's going to be a fun night that night. That's for sure. So, all right, we're going to shut her down.
All right.
Hey,
Talk to
have
you
a
all
good
later.
one.
Good night.
See y'all later.
Now, y'all.